Hi everyone, it's Dasher Dave here, and I'm back for another video. Now, first of all, let me first apologise. I did try to do a live this week, however, YouTube wasn't having any of it. What's happened is I thought it was my internet, but my internet is fine. It's actually YouTube is down in the local area, so I am recording a video instead. So there was no live this week, so don't go looking for it. There wasn't one. And what there was didn't last for very long. It just kept looping. So what we're going to do is, I did promise that I would show you how to make this, which is, it's made from a billing envelope, and it's just, it's just got in my tea, well, in my coffee actually. So we're going to make this. You can have optional coffee dyed ends, or not. So it's a little fold out journal. It has a pocket here, which I will show you. So it's got a pocket that goes in here. In there, like that, so you can see through the window. Okay, and then it has a pocket here, which, well, it's kind of tuck pocket at the side here. So you can, you could put something on the outside, or you could put something on the back, depending on whether you're going to have a floating pocket or you're going to put it, stick it down into a journal. So I will show you how to make this. Now, what you're going to need is you're going to need a billing envelope. Okay, so they come in different ways. You might be better at opening an envelope than I am. I have decided to buy. I used a butter knife for this one because I wanted to keep it because it got a nice double window, which you don't get in the UK very often. Yeah, you can use whatever. And if you tear yours open better than I do, then that's even better. So if you can open them, nicely and easily, then that's nicely and easily. I mean, better than I can. Okay, so which one we're going to use? I was going to use this one because I liked the fact that you could see specifically where the window is, and you'll see the reason for that in a moment. Okay, so what you need to do is you'll need to get some way to cut it in half. You could use a pair of scissors, or in this case I'm going to use this. Brian is here, so if you can hear something in the background, it's him. He can chip in when he needs to. He does have a microphone, but he's just not wearing it because
currently none.
Brian does something that he does subconsciously, I think, but he hums all the time, and it can get a bit annoying, to be fair. But, I say it like it is, and it's not anything I haven't told him. So I have told you, haven't I?
You have.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah. So anyway, so in the UK, our envelopes are made to fit our paper sizes. So your envelopes might be a different size. But if they're different, sorry, just trying to concentrate. If they are a different size, obviously you'll have to work out your own measurements. So this is 9 inches wide, or just short of 23 centimeters. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to cut it not quite in half. Okay, and what I mean by not quite in half is you want the window side to be slightly bigger than this side. Okay, so, and you'll see the reason why. Okay, so you'll see here it's slightly, and that's basically just to give you space on your fold. Okay, and also it helps the person interacting with it know that there is something else there. If you try and make it dead on, what you actually find out is they don't actually line up anyway, because when you're going to add in a spine to it, and it will push things out slightly. So okay, so it's 9 inches wide. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, 23, it's actually 22 and 22.9 centimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make life a little bit easier for myself. Just so it's 4.5 would make it halfway. Okay, so we want it to be a little bit less short of that line. So 4 and 7/8 if you were doing, no, 4 and 7/8, no, 4 and, what's half of 4 and 3/4, no, 4 and 3/8. Well, that's, I was trying to do it for people that use inches, but like I'm rubbish at working out what all of the little lines mean. So, so for me, I'm just going to do it there, which is basically 4. Where does that take me to? So that's there. So that's 4 and 1, 2, 3 of them. 3/8, 4 and 3/8, I think. Yeah. So, oh no, actually, I want it to be the other way, Dave. I want the bit I'm cutting off to be 4 and 3/8. Sorry about this, folks. So I'm going to cut that there. Okay, so it should be slightly smaller, which it is, than the other side. Okay, fine. So what we need to do also, if you go a bit too far over, you'll end up cutting your window off. Okay, and you want to leave your window as intact as possible. So just eyeballing it. Yeah, that's fine. When you've added in the allowance for a spine, it'll sit about there. Okay, so we're going to put this to one side and we're going to take this for now. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to be able to put something behind the window. Okay, because it's obviously a bit more attractive if there's something behind the window than, you know, just having this in the background. So in order to do that, now I got this from somebody else's video, but at the moment I cannot for the life of me remember who it is, and as soon as I do I will link them. Okay, so what I want to do is open this up. Okay, it shouldn't cut towards you, but do as I say, not as I do. At least I'm keeping my wrists out of the way. Okay, so you're going to open it up. Okay, and then you see what I mean about this envelope. It gives you that little bit. Now you could decoupage on all over the inside, but nobody's going to see it. So what's the point? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to decorate within this white box, and then I know that most of that will be visible from the window. Okay, so I'm just going to get some things to decoupage with. Okay, so I will just get some bits out. Now you can decoupage with whatever you've got, etc. So these are a bit sticky and I don't know why they're in there. These are just bits off records, so off the labels off the middle of a record. So this is some of Janie B's paper. So I'm just going to take a bit of this out. I'm just going to start putting some in here. So I'm not going to worry about, like, I'm going to try and make a composite that I like, and then I'll stick it down if I'm happy with it. So I want to use that on the outside. I think this is off a bit of music paper. Oh, it is music paper. So obviously I want all the nice bits I want to be able to see through the window. So If you can hear any growling, it's not Brian. It's
Not
Worcester in the background. He's having he's a bit upset by somebody, clearly. Somebody who's walking past the window or breathing, to be fair. So, you just make your own kind of composition and whatever you like the look of or whatever you're happy with. I just like to try and piece it together so that I can see what I'm working with. Hello, good boy. Yes, I know you're not happy, but go and see Uncle Brian because he's not filming and I am. So I want another bit of paper. Now I don't want it to be too in your face. I want it to be kind of subdued in the background. So what shall I use a bit of that actually. Maybe a bit of that, or maybe a bit of that. Oh no, that's actually quite nice. I won't use that bit. Let's use a bit of coffee dye, I think is what I need. A bit of coffee dye paper is what would be perfect here. No coffee dyed paper in there, which is always useful. What have we got in here? Lots of bits and bobs in here, so I'll put a bit of map paper in there. Put it there. And then I need something to go in there, which would be perfect if I could find a little bit of coffee dyed paper or something of that ilk. You know when you think you've got it all to hand and it isn't? Brian, can you just give me a hand? Can you just give me a piece of coffee dyed paper? Anything off there. So, sorry, I'm just deploying help. So it doesn't have to be a big piece. All I need is a little, like, rip something off or perfect. That would be actually even ripped perfectly. So yeah, so like that. So that's perfect composition that I'm happy with. So I won't remember it. So what I do is I'm going to take a picture of it and then I can kind of try and replicate that. So let's find it. Okay, so get this, a bit of this. Now you can use wet glue or whatever you prefer. So I'm just using wet glue because it's to hand and I can do it. So now you can take more time over collaging than I did, and you can get out all of your scraps and things, the bits that you are trying to use up. This is a perfect way to do that, is to use up all your scraps, and then you can feel like you've achieved something because you've used some scraps up. So go there-ish, there-ish, that there-ish. Yeah, that'll do. So there, put this on. So if my glue is running out, which is not the best of things. Not the best time for it to run out, is it? Yeah. So I'm just going to use a piece of card, well, a card to smooth it down. I'm going to use this. See, it's already stuck to my fingers. On that. And then that should go on there. It might be slightly different to before, but it'll do. That's fine. Put this on here. Just using a bit of scrap paper to glue book onto, simply because I don't have very much space. So, and then we'll use this side, I think. So this is just a piece of, it's not even matte paper, it's from a driving A to Z. And then what you want to do is you just want to flip it back and see if you're happy with that. And yes, I am. I'm happy with the way that looks. And now we can do the same now for the outside. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open it out just to make it a little bit easier for myself. And I'm going to now do this side. Okay, so what we do want to do though is we want to think about the fact that we will need to have this flap. Now, if you've opened your envelope, you know, nicely, you will have a flap already on here, but I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a flap. Okay, so in order to create a flap, I'm just going to build something that's just going to form the basis for now. Okay, I'm just going to trim off all of these extra bits, so where they kind of just fold over, I'm just going to trim those off with a pair of scissors that you can't find. So just make it straight over at the top. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up from the back so that I've got something to flip over. Now, like I say, if you've left this bit on intact, then you'll have that anyway. Okay, but I haven't got that, so I'm making it myself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a piece of paper that will make a nice substrate. It can be anything, because I'm going to decoupage over it. So it doesn't have to be anything exciting. And if I use a piece of paper that you recognise and you think, hang on a minute, that's quite exciting, then that's your opinion. So I'm just going to use a piece of this. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to just make something that's wide enough, using that classic measurement of a nail mark.
Classic measurement. About that.
Yeah, about there. I'm just going to straighten this up. And it looks like Brian's packing up to go home.
I'll just put my laptop away.
All right. So apparently he's just putting his laptop away. So okay. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut it to that. It's got a natural line there, so I'm just going to cut it to about there. I won't bother cutting it though. I'm just going to tear it. Okay. And all that's going to do is form the fold over bit that I have here. So I'm just going to put this on here and fold it over a ruler, and then fold it down properly with my bone folder that I can find anyway. So okay, so this is going to be the bit that folds over. Okay, that's going to sit on there, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it on now, because then I can decoupage over it. Okay, so I'm not going to clip the corners, because I'll clip them once I've decoupaged over. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick it down with a bit of wet glue. If it comes out, I haven't used it for a while, so it might come out. If I can get it to come down to the end. So now this is not art glitter glue. This is just some. This is actually bookbinding glue. So, which is actually one of my.
Very similar.
Yeah, so trying to put that lid on, that doesn't work, Dave. Yeah, both me and Brian think it's quite similar to art glitter glue. But we cannot scientifically prove that, so We can't say that it's the same, but we think it's similar. So, okay, so I'm just wiping away any excess on the bits that are exposed, because what I don't want to do is this to become stuck together. Okay, so what I might do is I might just put a little bit of paper on there. No, not that bit. And a bit of straight bit. Just going to stick a little bit of this paper over here so that it doesn't get all caught up. You might be better at doing this than me, and won't get in this mess. You might open your bills better than I do. It's not like I open them with any sense of excitement. They're not torn open because I'm excited to get them. They're just torn open because they're usually one of the last things that I'm doing. One of the last things that I would want to see. Okay, so this I'm just going to check this. This is a little bit too long because I don't want it to hide the window, so I'm going to cut some of it off. Okay. And he would do if he could find, there again, a knife and a ruler. So I'm just going to cut this down, probably about there. Yeah, that's about right. That's fine. Okay, so just put that out of the way because I'm going to take a finger off otherwise. So I'm happy with where that's going to come to. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this out and I'm going to decoupage around this window. Okay. So you can put on whatever you like. You can do whatever you like. And I'm going to keep the window visible. And I prefer not to have the white border, but you know, if you want to keep that, then you keep that. That's entirely up to you. So I'm not going to worry about it being like covering the window a little bit. If I'm happy with it, I'm happy with it. So, and as I always say, you do you. So, as everybody says these days, you do you. So I'm going to use a bit of wet glue just for speed, just for the manoeuvrability of it as well. Because if you're not happy with where it is, you've got a bit more wiggle on it. So, if you're using art glitter glue, you're not going to get quite so much wiggle. Although this is pretty similar. This is bookbinding glue, and you don't get a lot of wiggle on it.
But not much.
But like once you've wiggled it a bit, you've got to commit. So. I also like it because if you're going to go round a fold, it kind of stays put. It tends to lift less. So I'm just going to put that on there. Maybe have a bit of this. A bit of this. Tear this down. Oh. As I didn't rip that butterfly, I might keep the butterfly in the cut. I'm just going to tear the white edge off. So. The butterfly did make the cut. Put that there. Just tear that bit out of there. Yep. Do that down to there. Don't worry about if you've got any overhang. You can get rid of that. No problem. We can cut that off afterwards, and you'll see what I mean when I cut mine off. Get a bit messy. I'd like to say I tend to get less messy with the white glue, with the wet glue, but I don't. But that's the reason why I said I'd like to say, but I don't. So, yeah, I think that's going to go on the front. So you can, if you want to make do smaller pieces on your decoupage, then do so. That's fine. You can. And normally I do quite small pieces of decoupage, but for the sake of the video, I'm trying to do. Sorry?
So we're going big or going calm?
Yeah, for the sake of the video, I'm just trying to do it larger because otherwise you're here for a lot longer. And most of you are wanting me to get on with it so that you can see how to make it. So that's sometimes how I feel. You know, if you want to watch people collage, we tend to watch people collage.
But that's why videos are good, because you can skip to the end.
Yeah. I know, but skipping to the end is not very good for the person's YouTube rating. So please don't skip to the end of my video. Please just let me do it. So I'm not sure about that. I think that for me that's a little too orange still. So I might just ink it down a bit. So for everything full with avalanches when I try and do that. So now this has been used as a bit of glue book, so it's got a bit of. It'll always pick up the colour on the more sticky bits. You don't want it to be sticky though, that's the thing. Okay, might give it a dry. I don't know why I want to do this every time, because it's hot. It's a hot air gun. It's supposed to be hot. And if it's not hot, it's not working. So I think that's going to go there. Yep, I think that's going to go there like that as well. I was going to cut it down a bit more, but I'm happy with how big it is. Because you can then embellish it more, and you can add extra things onto it. So it might be a perfect place to put a word or a flower or something like that. And I like this dirtiness here. Let's have another piece of something else now. Trying to use up all of my my scrappy bits. It's the best time to do it, so I'm creating these things quite like that as well. I'm just going to put some of that on it. I don't know whether that's too bright. Maybe the back of that. Yeah, maybe the back of that. Still too bright. Still not happy. I think maybe some of this. So this, I don't actually know what this is. I think it's typing paper. So okay, so now on this bit, I don't mind it having a little bit where it hangs over the edge, because that's perfect for you to bend over the top so you don't get such a jagged line. And it makes it easier for you to be able to then put things in it because it doesn't snag on something. So when it's a pocket is what I mean. Just inking, just gluing it up, making sure it sticks. And then place place it down. Like I say, don't mind it hanging over the window a bit. And then we've got this bit here, which I could maybe put that on. Yeah. That on there. Yep, might just tear that bit off, make it straighter. Yeah, I'll put that on there. Might need some more of this. Trying to store it upside down now so that it doesn't all just go back to one end, the wrong end, usually the wrong end. Yeah. That flattened out, right. And don't worry about that bit on there. Obviously don't get a glue, don't get a hot air gun near it, otherwise you'll melt it, you'll melt the window. Okay, so I'm just going to reintroduce that crease. So whilst butting your ruler up to that crease, you just want to then find the crease again first, Dave, and then just reintroduce that crease. That way then it tends to peel up less, so this will stay stuck down if you do it that way. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to glue this end here, this edge here, and fold it over just to give it a slightly neater edge, and that's that bit that you want it to stop catching on. Okay, flatten it out. Don't worry about this bit. This is the bit we're going to trim down, and this bottom edge we're going to trim down as well. Okay, if you want to curl it over, you can. You can trim it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that edge to trim down, and we're going to fold this edge up. Right, on this bit, what you don't want to do is have that bit crossing your crease, because that's the bit that's going to cause you problems. It'll end up bulking that crease out too much. It stops it folding quite so nicely. Remember, you're not going to see the inside of this, so you don't need to do anything with the inside. Okay, so it's going to fold over like that, and it's going to glue down these two edges, so you're not going to see that. So I know I've got a nice Teflon bone folder, but I'm going to use this one because I don't mind getting glue on this one. Okay, so there we go. We've reintroduced that crease to there. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to do the back of it. Okay. So before I do the back, fully, don't worry about what you put on this half, because you're going to put another. So this is where this half of this envelope, we're going to join this back on, and we're going to join it back on with making ourselves a spine for it. Okay, so if you think that's going to join to there, don't put your fanciest bit of paper down that edge, because you're going to cover it up shortly. So let's get that back open again, and we'll just decoupage the back. So we'll put some more coffee dye down here. Yeah, that's fine like that. And you remember, you're gonna go right over the top. So, well, I always go over the top anyway. So. So how you have your flap is entirely up to you. As you can see here, I've made like it quite decorative. Okay, if you want to keep it more plain, keep it more plain. To make it more decorative, I just use some of my Edith Holden People are like, so I'm actually going to use another piece of heated holding. Yeah, it is almost Tim Holtzy. Now, because I want to keep the Kingfisher, I wouldn't be able to keep the back of it anyway, because I wouldn't be able to cut out both sides. So, using the top of the page, I can then possibly use that as being my, I might even have it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decoupage up to this flap and not worry about the flap quite so much. I'm going to decoupage up to it, and then we're going to find something else to put over the flap. Yeah. Okay, so because I think I'm going to stick this pocket down, the back of this doesn't have to be very decorative, so I want to see as much of the Edith Holden paper as I can. I'm still going to decorate it in case I do decide to keep it as a floating pocket, but I'm probably more likely to stick it down. So I'm just going to put that over there. Clearly that piece of paper wants to come onto here, so we might just allow it. Put it across the bottom there. Yep, we'll put that there. Except for I didn't leave my glue upside down, did I? No. Oh dear, come on. So yeah, so I needed to do this video. I've meaning to do this for a while, but when things are going well, I want to have a chat and be, you know, jolly and crafty and that sort of thing. But my live video was supposed to happen before this, and it didn't go very well, so it's left my mental health feeling a little bit bruised. So I'm making this instead. So apologies if I'm not quite as chatty as normal. But also really good for me when I'm making things to just be able to focus. Just give myself time to repair. Okay, so that's that. Just going to cut that edge off. Okay. Yep. So then again, just open it out and I'll have a look and see what else we can put on here.
Got a hole punch.
What sort of a hole punch?
To make a tab in that.
So like a thumbnail punch. Yeah. Sorry, Brian's just asking for something.
Yeah.
So.
An appropriate rating.
Sorry, you should have just said that. Sorry, Brian.
All right.
So. I'm just going to do this. Put this, stick this bit down. Like I say, I'm not going to worry about this edge too much because I'm going to stick something on there. Don't like that. Not for this, I don't like it anyway. It's looking too lemon if I move that. A bit of green of some kind or something. Just an ordinary book page would be good as well. What we'll do, we'll just stick that there. Fine, I'm not worried about the straight edge because remember this bit's going to get covered up and this bit's going to get covered up. So and we can just glue it all down. Doesn't matter how it looks. I mean, I like the back to look good in case I don't stick it down, but I'm not worried about the seam, like I say, so stick that down. So if it gets a bit sticky, just, you know, be careful, don't put your fingers in it and all of that. It'll start to get very sticky very quickly otherwise, so put on there. Perfect opportunity to use up all of these little bits. So stick that down. See, that's what I like about wet glue. It just gives you that ability to just move it a bit more. Have a bit of, need something here, so I'm not going to use this bit, so I might just have that number off there. Just going to rip the edge and tear that down. Stick that on there. Yeah, that'll do. I could have had 101, that was what was on the back, but we'll have 100. Okay, I'm just going to put a bit of colour over it because there's a white edge here, and you know me, can't cope with the white edge. Same with on the front there. It's fine, it's just knocked it back a bit. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to do this flap. Okay, so as the flap's going to come over this side, it's going to come down a little, just make sure that that's not in the way. Okay, so you might find that, you see how this is buckling on this on here, it's kind of just catching the lip of here. Okay, what you might find better to do is just to score a line just a little bit further over, and then you've got room for it to fold over everything that you do. So you can either score a line, or you can bend a line over the edge of a ruler, or you can just freehand fold it, however you want to do it. I am going to use this little scoreboard just to get that line in there. Yep, we'll do it that way around, Dave. It's currently folding on there, that line, so I'm going to get it to fold on that line instead. There we go, so just round, so that'll just sit round nicely, and then that'll also sit round the bulk of anything that's in the pocket. Okay, so don't worry about this edge being longer at the moment, and that's only because we've stuck things onto it and we've made it bigger. Okay, like I say, we're just going to cut it down. Okay, so we'll do that now, and all you're going to do is you're going to get back down to where the edge of the envelope, which in this case is decorated with that security pattern, so it makes it easy to see where the envelope finishes. There you go, so like that. Okay, and we can just cut those little bits off there as well. Fine, okay, so we've got this flap. Okay, now we're going to decorate this flap. So I've just now got to decide, how do I want this flap? Do I want the flap to be, do I mind the flap being upside down, or do I want it to be the right way up? I think I want it to be like that, and then I'll get a hint of this flower on it as well. Okay, so I am going to do it so that we have a bit of a fold over. So I'm going to bring it down a bit further. I'm going to stick it down like this, I think. Let's just make sure we can see that flower on the inside. So if I hold it up like this, it needs to go about there. So it's going to go to about there. Good old fingernail. So, and we're going to glue that bit. Okay, so the best thing to do this time is to glue the flap. And if you find a better way to do all of this, then great, you do it. But at the moment, and because of the way my mind works, this is the way I do it. So I shall show you my way, and you can do it your way, because then you won't be doing it my way.
And if it works for you,
it works. Yeah, that's all that matters, exactly. Just like Brian said, if it works for you, that's all that matters. Okay, so make sure we make good contact there. Okay, and then we're going to fold this bit over. Just so I get a nice neat edge on that flap. Okay, and then we're going to see where this comes to, and all I'm going to do is, instead of just leaving it as a straight line, I'm just going to get my tear, well, not even a tear ruler, just a ruler, and just tear it off. Okay, that's how it tears off. That's fine. In fact, I might even tear the line. I probably should have done this before I actually stuck it down, but you know, it's me. So these things happen. Change my mind as I go. And that's what it is to be a crafter. We can.
Yeah.
There's no rules. You do it the way that you want to do it. So
You can evolve as you go anyway, don't you?
yeah. So just like Brian has just said, things evolve as you go, and let it evolve, because that's absolutely fine. If you do it a set way and you plan it out, it's less organic, and it looks, you know, it's not saying it looks staged, it just, you know, hasn't turned into something different, and then you miss out on the what ifs. A bit like, you know, when you go for a walk, if you planned where you were going every day, it'd get a bit boring. Sometimes you have to just let yourself wander a bit. So, and this is the way. This is wandering the craft way.
Or for a drive like we do.
Sorry, like Brian's just said something and I didn't catch him, so I'm just saying sorry to him. So,
Yeah,
what did you say?
Like when we go driving.
Yeah. So.
What's in that word?
Yeah. So like, we'll often go for a drive and just say, oh, I don't know where this goes. Where does that go?
Let's find out.
Yeah. So I'm just cutting those down, and you will get this like buckling on a crease, and that's absolutely fine. Remember, you're building layers up, and you're gonna get a buckle, and that's fine. We don't worry about that. It's there because it's a bit like us. If we didn't have skin, it wouldn't bend. See how it looks nice and rounded now when you fold it out. That's what I always say. The reason why I've got a big fold in the middle of me. So now we've cut these bits off, I can put some of these on this side. Decoupage it up. We're going to put that too, yeah. About that. Shall we go there? Yeah, we'll go there. So if I just tear that straight down, and then we'll just glue all of that up. Shall we go like that? Yeah, we'll go like that. Go across there. And we'll put a bit of this on, I think. I don't mind leaving the straight edge on the top. That actually helps me to line that up. In fact, I might. Yeah, we'll do it there. Put that on there. Flatten it out. And remember, you want to make sure that the flap that you've got is, you know, whatever you want. It's going to be seen. So it's not going to be seen when it's closed. It's going to be seen when it's open, though. So you want to make sure that you use pieces that you like and things that you like the look of. like I say, this is Janie B journals. This is. So I'm going to put some of this over it. Yeah, put that there. So I will link Janie B in the description. And she has a lot of lovely digitals, does Janie B, so go along and have a look and see what she's got. She's a very prolific maker of digital kits as well, so sorry, excuse me all over. A slurp of my cold coffee, extremely cold coffee now. It was a perfect coffee though, so it was really tasty, really tasty. So I'm not worried about that being which direction that goes in. I know I'm not going to see it all, but I like that there. So I'm going to stick this down. I tend to get less sticky when I use wet glue because it dries. That's probably why. Whereas the dry glue stays wet, which is just doesn't sound like it should make sense, but in my head that makes absolute sense. So
it does make sense.
Maybe to nobody else.
Even though out loud it doesn't. It doesn't sound like it should, but it does make sense.
Brian agrees it makes sense. So. What shall I use? Let's use a bit of that. If I do, is there a bit that I've already got? Well, it's not the same stuff, but a bit I've already torn off. Yeah, that bit there. We'll use that bit rather than tearing another bit off. We'll put that there. Yep. In fact, actually, should we have it that way? No, we'll do it that way. The dry style glue, the stick glue, tends to be tacky, stays tacky longer, although it stays tacky longer, it doesn't tend to move as much. There's nothing to move around on, but the wet glue dries off. It dries like into that kind of peely stuff, the stuff you used to do when you were at school and wipe it on your finger, paint it on your finger so you could peel it off later. So there we go. So that's our flap. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut this down. So if I use the back edge as a guide for where it is, I only put my finger in the way, but that was not a good idea. Cut that bit down. Okay, and this bit hangs over the edge, so I can either fold it over, or because it's likely to peel back up again, I'm just going to cut it down. Yeah, just like that. Okay, so that's what we've got. Okay, so now what we need to do is we now need to add the other part of it. So the other part is this. So this is the other side. Okay, and for this one, what we need to do is, if we think that this is how our envelope used to be, it looked like this, didn't it? Okay, what we want to do is we want to just stick this down so we seal it down. Okay, so any torn up edges we're just going to stick down. You don't have to worry too much because you're going to be decoupaging over it, and so it'll stay stuck anyway. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to open this up, so fully open the envelope up. So now we've stuck the back bit down, we're going to open the envelope up with the blade that I have lost. That's that. Did put it out of the way. So I'm just going to open this envelope up. Properly. Yeah, so we're going to open it up, okay, but we're going to open it up fully, but not all of the way down. Okay, so now the reason, so, well, you can open, or you open it all the way down. Let me just talk about this now. So like with this half is this half that we've just made here. The only thing is we haven't stuck this down, okay? So we're going to stick it on these three sides, but we're going to wait until we've finished the rest of it first. And this side is this side here. Now, you can either choose to have it so that it opens, this opening is on this side, or the opening is on this side. So I chose to have the opening this side. So what that meant is I cut all of this down completely, or you can have it on this side, in which case you leave this bit open, okay, and you only cut down to about here and you fold the rest of it in. Now I'm going to open it up completely and do the same as I did here so that you can see what I mean. Okay. So I'll open that completely up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to unfold it like this, okay? So in order to get our pocket to be like this, you choose how deep do you want your pocket, okay? So I actually went to a very similar sort of line as this, and I went to the line that appeared naturally. So I went, if we have a look, yeah, I think the line was slightly higher up on the other one. So but we'll go to this line and then you'll see what I mean. So all I used was the line that was printed already on the envelope as a bit of an idea of where I was going to go. And then this line, because it's not straight, all I did was I just folded it over, and that creates a bit of an extra, that gives you a bit of extra thickness here, which is on this edge, which is the bit that's going to get caught and it's going to get folded more, and therefore you want it to be a bit more resilient. Okay, so I'm going to just glue this bit down. Okay, I'm going to glue it down. I've put a lot of glue in, so I'm just going to get my fingers out of the way because it'll just squeeze out all of the sides. There we did. There we go. It did. I mean, okay, and then what that's going to do is, I don't know what I told you about the edge, because it's this edge that you're getting a double edge from, so don't listen to me. So there you go. So what you're going to do now is you're going to decoupage as much as you want to on here. Now, the process video that I watched when they were doing this is they only decoupage to here. But for me, I thought, because this is open at the sides, you're going to be able to see in. So my decoupaging went down a bit further. Okay. So I'm going to decoupage all of this. I'm going to decoupage the back, remembering the bits where it joins together. So this edge, you don't have to worry about the decoupaging so much because you're going to put an extra seam on there. Okay. And you want to decoupage the front of this and wrapping it round here, but you don't have to decoupage the back bit if you don't want to. Or if you want to, you can. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so I'm just going to start decoupaging. So I'm just going to check where this goes to so that I can see, because you don't need to go all the way down. Yeah, okay. In fact, on this video I probably won't go all the way down anyway, because it's another one of those things that you don't want to spend forever watching me decoupage. I can hear Worcester moaning in the background. Okay. I'll put a bit of this on, I think. Maybe even have some of that actually, so different way around this time. So I don't know what this is from. It's obviously from a child's book, but I'm not quite sure what. And I'm not worried about the bottom edge being straight because you're not going to see it anyway. So So this is one of those things when once you've made one, you'll make hundreds of them, because you'll think, oh, I could do it like this, oh, and I could do it like this, and maybe if I did this. So you'll have lots of different things that you'll do to it, and that's great, because that's all we want, is we want some inspiration to do different things occasionally. You know, we want to. It can get a bit challenging at times, can't it? Because you want something different to make all the time. We're constantly hungry for something different. But then when we find something different that we like, we end up making hundreds of them, and then that's why we're desperate to make something different next time. We've oversaturated ourselves with difference. Okay. A little bit more of something. This is another piece of Janie B stuff. Maybe a bit of that in there. Although what I was thinking of using was a bit plain anyway, because that's a bit of, I was thinking of using a bit of this envelope, so that's a bit plain, I think. Just bear with me a second while I just stretch this mic as far as I can get it to go, and find something. Oh, there's a bit of book page there. Yeah, we'll use that. What else have we got? Yeah, a bit of book page. Tear that off there. I'm not going to worry about this top edge of this book page, because I'm going to fold it round. I know I said I don't like a bordered edge, but I'm going to fold it over anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to put that on there. I think Brian's bringing some coffee up now, so when he does, he can pass me another bit of coffee dyed paper, I think. Could you pass me another piece of coffee dyed paper? I was just telling these lovely people that you might do that for me as you were stood up. Oh, great! Thank you. Perfect. Some nice coffee. Well, it will be nice coffee if I drink it hot. I'm just going to fold this over. Oh, thank you. Brian's just having a coughing fit. You can hear a noise in the background. It's not Worcester. Not this time. Can't blame him this time. I could do with like an on desk. I don't know whether anybody's watched Roxy Creations. Rachel from Roxy Creations. She has a desk bin. I think that's what I could do with, because my bin is got things balanced on the side of it and on top of it and the edge of it, and you can't see the bin anymore, so put that there. Yeah. I was thinking, or maybe I should use the image on the back, but no, it's fine. Can't really tell what the image is anyway, so and something on there. Bit of Edith Holden maybe, or maybe a bit of that. Just rip a bit of that off and stick that over there, just covering the envelope up in the background, really. That's the whole point of this. There we go. Cover that up. So let's just check. So that's where you'll see till 2. You might see down to this edge here, so I might just put a bit of book page on this very edge. Yeah. And I'll fold this over onto the other side, so Okay, so what I need to do now is I need to think about how this is going to go. So let's just make sure that folds in the right place. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I don't need to decoupage all of this because you won't see that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold over what I do on this side, fold over to that side. Okay, make sure that's all down. A few edges that are sticking up, so put something underneath them so they don't stick up. Okay, and then let's just tear that down. So now we need to decoupage on this bit. So anything that hangs over the bottom I'll wrap round to the other side, and anything that hangs over the top I'll wrap round to the inside. So in fact, I think I'm going to put that up there, not to the bottom where I was going to put it. Yeah. Remember, like I say, I don't worry about the bits either side. Oh, I have to use a bit of that. I have to use a bit of that in everything I do, to be fair. So what else have I got in here? A bit more book page. I don't know. Where shall I go? Yeah, I'm going to go this side. So. Yep. On there. And if you've got any overhang, remember you can either go over the bottom or the sides or wherever. Just don't try and do it all because it'll get too much bulk in it. So where I've gone over the edge, over the top edge with this, I won't try and go over the side with this, but I might do with this. So tear that bit off there. Stick the edges down now. So it's no longer sticking over the edge. Over the top, I mean, it's sticking over the sides. So I can just wrap that round there. Just keep checking how it's looking. Is it looking the way you wanted it to? Is there anything else you could do to it? Okay, let me put that on. Probably going to line this up with the edge because it's quite thick and bulky. It's more cardboardy. So I'm going to put that up there. So it sits more along that edge. Put a bit of that on there. Similar, well, it's the same stuff as as up here, but it's more heavily lined, so you can't tell. Set that on the bottom. Yeah, pop of colour on the bottom there. Anything that's too white, remember, we can knock back with a brush and a bit of ink. And just go over the top of that just to get rid of too many of the white edges. And then I'm just going to fold those edges over. Stick them down this side. Okay. That hasn't stayed there. There we go, like that. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is any of these edges, so I'm just going to snip that bit off. Remember, we don't want to try and do the sides and the top or bottom as well. So I'm going to do one or the other, otherwise too much bulk in it. So I'm going to cut these down. Bit there, cut that bit off. And then we're going to, this bit, we're just going to stick over the edge. That bit as well. If it's too thin, too narrow to fold round, then just cut it off. Or if you don't want to cut it, do it. If you don't want it to fold round, then cut it off as well. Much easier to do this now than after it's all glued together and then you think, oh, we should cut that bit off. Okay. Cut that bit off. Not worried about all of those edges, that's fine. Okay, cool. Okay. So we've got that, we've done that edge. So the only reason why I do that very edge is because when it's open like that, you can see this edge, but you can't see right inside, so I don't worry about the way inside. Okay, and then we're going to do the back. Okay, so remember this is so if you flip it over, this is the edge that's it's gonna join on. So we're going to decoupage up to that bit and not worry about that edge quite so much. That's the bit where you're going to put a join in it. Now when I'm talking about having a join like a spine, you can either choose to have a bit of fabric, or you could have a bit of cardboard or heavyweight paper. I wouldn't use book page. If you think you're going to fold it and unfold it and fold it and unfold it, it's likely to put too much stress on the paper, and it's more likely to tear apart. Even if you did a few layers of paper, it's more likely to put too much stress on it. So I'm going to have a bit more of this on it. So if you think about this, when you fold this over, you're going to be seeing this bit. Okay, so try and think about how aesthetically, how is it going to look? What you're going to do to it? What else are you having on there? Okay, so I am going to. Sorry, I'm just thinking about this. Just cut that bit off there. So I'm going to have maybe some of this. Maybe not some of that. Maybe some of this. So this is actual real wallpaper, actually off my wall. See, look, it's still got bits of wall on it. So. It's quite old. It's probably from about the 50s. It was under several other layers of wallpaper, but it's all been scanned in, so I might as well use it now. Otherwise, it just hangs around and it turns.
Patterns as well and find out exactly when they hang up.
Yeah, otherwise it turns into a bit of a museum. Otherwise, if you keep it forever. And as far as I'm aware, I am not a wallpaper history museum, so. I think quite like those numbers down there, so I might actually tear those out. I'll tear it down this side as well. fold that over the top. Just glue all of this down here. Coming to the end of this. Now I haven't glued any of this together yet, and you'll see why. There's always a reason. Sometimes I haven't made the reason up yet, but this time I have. There is a reason.
Did you say you've not made the reason up yet?
Yeah. Folded that bit there, just straighten that out a bit, just pull on it. That's the thing about wet glue, you can give it try and get all of the creases out of it better. Might as well flip that bit over there. I'm going to put a bit of this on. Should I put that down there or there? Maybe have that there. Although I do say that your fingers don't get quite so sticky with the wet glue. They do. You end up building a bit of a layer up, and it gets to the point where you really want to just go and wash your hands. But taking one for the team. We'll keep going. Got over the back of where I was ready to stop. That was after my live. My mind was still not happy about it all, but these things are sent to try us, aren't they? So I keep coming back to that and keep saying, nope, it's too bright. Nope, it's too bright. That's far too small, Dave. Oh, I keep coming back to this and saying I want it on, so I'm going to put it on here. This is the ideal opportunity to use this now. So put that on there. Okay, and I need something for here. Bound to be something in here. A bit more of that. Well, that'd be nice on there. Yeah, I'm just going to tear the straight edge off it though, and then decide how big we need it to about there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, put that on there. Flatten that out. There we go. Oh, there's a bit there as well that we need. Bit just coffee dyed, I think. Yeah, that'll do. And rather than the lined bit, I'm just going to put the coffee dyed bit on. Smooth that out a bit. Let's try and get it to that tip. There we go. And because I've already got this coffee dyed on this side, I'm just going to cut this bit off. Try not to cut the crease, otherwise the pocket won't be a very good pocket. Okay, now cut off any excess. This is quite gluey now. Oh, I think I've got a bit heavy-handed on that. Never mind. And depending on how much layers you put on here, just make sure that it still lines up nicely. So if this is folded over and the bottom edges are lined up, will this still fold over the top? And it will. That's fine. Okay, great. So now what we need to do is just need to make a bit of space so we can see this next part. Okay, so now what we've got is we've got two sides to this. Okay, remember the pocket goes on the inside. Okay, so it's going to go on the inside like this. This is going to be the outside. Okay, so what we need is we need a fastening for this. So if you look on this one, what I did was I made a rivet in here. Yeah, and then I just put a circle loop round here. Now you could put these on both sides, but I'm kind of into just doing that hole at the moment. So what I now want to think about is aesthetically, when this folds over, okay, I am going to want the middle to be the middle of this, not the middle of this. So it'll look slightly off center on this, but we're not worried about that. We want it to be the middle of this. From my aesthetics, if you want it to be the middle of this, remember that this will be then offset. Okay, so let's go for the middle of this. So all we need to do is just need to find out what the middle of this is. What is it better to work out with? So it's going to be 6 centimeters because it's actually 12 is the measurement. So we just need to use a pencil with an end to it, which is always helpful. I'm just going to put a little mark on there. Now that's way too near this edge, but it will just give me a guide to go into. Okay, so now I need, so Brian, I think has put some, did he put the little tray of rivets away?
He did.
Yeah. So Brian's just going to,
flying.
yeah, Brian moved them out of the way for me because they sit in a little tray and they're likely to all go flying if. So I think this time round, so on the last time what I did was I used, where is it? Here. What I used was a green rivet, which was one of these, and it was actually that colour green, and all I did was I coloured it in with some alcohol ink. So I think maybe, oh, that's another one that's been squashed. Can I have the other tray, Brian? I know, asking for both trays at the same time, just to make it completely messy.
Just move them back in here.
So I will see if I've got one in here. So I think I might just use a plain hole this time. Okay. Shall I use it in pink, or shall I colour it in? Okay. I don't think I've got anything to colour it in over this side, so unless we've got anything a different colour. Put that back for now. Let's see. Okay, we can get, oh there we go, we'll go with this one, which is a coppery coloured one. Okay, so I just want to know how big the hole is, so I'm going to have to use the larger hole of this one. The last one was the smaller size. Yep. Let's do open now. Okay, so that's where I put my line. Okay, so I want that to be about there. Does that look right? Yeah, about there I'm going to put it. Just make sure that I'm happy with that. Yeah, there we go. Committed now. So now I've made the hole, I'll just put the rivet through it. Flip this over and then find, so the base goes on the bit that you always think it shouldn't go on. The top goes on the bit that you should think it should be the base. You just want to clamp it together. Yeah, there we go, that's fine. Okay. And then so for this bit, so we've made this bit, and now for this bit, what we need to do is, first of all, we need to find the middle of this back. So we're going to open this up, and we're going to have to find the middle of this when it's on here. So if we think that that's where our spine is going to be, it'll sit here. So the middle of this is the middle of the equidistant bit across here. So what we now need to think about is we're going to have to do a bit of jiggery pokery. Is it needs to be around a line where where it says Friday, and what that is if we open it up, it's somewhere between the bottom of this window and the bottom of the page. Otherwise, you're going to end up putting a hole through. So when it's closed. No, that's right. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no. When it's closed, what you want it to do is look aesthetically like it's at the bottom of the page. See here? I was looking for this. So this is quite low down on the bottom of the page, and I think aesthetically that looks better for me. If you'd rather have it a bit further up, then do that. But I like it further down the page, so I'm thinking about actually probably about there. So don't listen to me, because I have no idea what I'm talking about half the time. So I'm going to put a hole about there. Now remember, with one of those crocodiles, you can't reach in that far unless you've got one of the big bite ones. So what I use my anywhere borer. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a hole now. So if you're doing this, don't leave that closed, because what you'll do is you'll go through this as well. Okay, so you want to open it up. Okay, and put your borer there. Just make a hole. There we go. Put a hole in there. So remember, it might not look, and it isn't, centre of this. Okay. But what it is in the centre of that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, before we start sticking anything down, is we want to flip it over, and we want to think about sticking this together. Now you want to leave a bit of a gap. Don't worry if it's not terribly straight. If you really want it straight, then straighten it up with. I think the reason why mine's not straight is because I haven't trimmed it properly. There we go. It's better. Okay, so you want to stick these two together. Now you don't want it to butt like this, because you'll find you won't be able to fold it over at all. Okay, so you need to leave a bit of a gap. Okay, so a bit of a gap like that, probably about 1/8 of an inch or 2 millimeters. Okay, and then you're going to need to choose something that's sturdy. Now you could use a bit of fabric if you had a bit of fabric that you liked the look of. Actually, you know something, I quite like that on there. Yeah, you could use a bit of sturdier card, so you could use a bit of Edith Holden type paper, or you could use some craft paper or some craft card. Don't use flimsy book page though, because it will end up cracking and breaking and falling apart. Okay, so I might use the back of this, and the reason for that is when you flip it over, you will see that little gap inside. And I quite fancy seeing a flash of that fabric down there. And I like the brightness of the fabric. So yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it the wrong way round, I think. He says, that's exactly what I'm going to do, I think. So he still doesn't know. Or do we do it that way round and see a flash of that? It's not quite as exciting, is it? Or we could tear it down a bit. But I better can't tear it. No, don't tear it down, Dave. Just do what you were going to do. So, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put these bits together. And we're going to have that 1/8 of an inch gap. I'm going to glue this on here. Okay. So in this time round, he's going to spill his coffee. This time round, I'm going to use some of my 3-in-1 glue because I'm using fabric. And if you're not using fabric, you don't need to use 3-in-1 glue. What I am going to do is I'm just going to check on this. Roughly where do we want this to be? So if that's somewhere in the middle, this is why I said don't worry about what butts up to the edges. Don't want quite as much as that, so I will tear the fabric down a bit. I'll tear this bit off. You will if you can cut it, obviously. Right, there's a bit of tear now. Oh, it did. That's all right then. Okay, so I'll leave my 1/8 of an inch, 2mm, might be more like 3mm gap. And I'm going to see where this comes to. So I'm just going to eyeball where it comes to, just so that I can decide how far I want my glue to come. Because it's easier to, or when you're using fabric, it's easier to put the glue on the paper than it is to put it on the fabric. Okay, so no further than those lines. So I'm just going to go straight down here. Now if you're using a cardboard spine, this is where you could decide to make this into a bit of a tuck. You could have it a bit further over, and you could have the edge as a tuck. You just want to make sure you cover up any bits that you didn't decoupage over, because you knew you were going to be doing this bit. You want to level it up so that they're pretty much on the same line. Just have a look at that. Yeah, they're pretty much the same line. Just make sure that the gap is. Typically, I touched it with a wet finger and it moved it all. So there we go. That's about it. I'm going to stick it that way round. That. Flatten it out. Just check it on this side. Way too big, Dave, that gap. Way too big. It's all moved, obviously, because it would do. When you're trying to demo anything, nothing ever goes tickety-boo.
On purpose so the world can see.
Yeah,
what happens.
absolutely. As Brian's just saying, it does it on purpose so that the world can see what happens, how to resolve these things, and etc. So there we go. So that's our spine now. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this edge off. I'm not worrying about fraying it because it will fray itself over time anyway. So. Sorry if I'm not cutting it how you wanted to, or I'm sorry if it's not frayed. I'm afraid it's not frayed. So there we go. That's that bit. Now I've got that bit stuck to me. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to now sort out that little rivet. Okay, so I'm going to try and pick one that's a very similar sort of colour to that. What did we use? We used a coppery coloured one. There we go, we've got a coppery coloured one here. Okay, and this time round we're going to make a circle. I don't know, out of something interesting. Maybe if we have a bit of Edith Holden left. That's interesting that I don't mind losing. Oh, I don't want to. So I obviously don't want to cut through my kingfisher, but maybe I could use a bit that kind of sits round him. Use a bit of light to see. No, alas, I would have to cut through him. But I'm not going to use that. Where's that pippin paper that I had? I had a tiny bit of pippin paper that I could have. Pepin paper, not pippin. So.
Pippin in.
Pippins, in the pippins.
No, what's pippin? I don't know that one.
So, let's get rid of some of these bits now, because they're all going to get in the way. What do we have? Aha, there it is. So if I stick this is way too flimsy. So if I stick this to a piece of cardboard, in fact I've just seen a piece of cardboard in here that would be perfect for it. So some of this, which is file folder. I might even double this up. So the little circle punch. If I put this. Okay, let's do this first. I was just having a moment there, just thinking, no, this is best if you stick this down first, Dave. Let's not use the wet glue because it'll all get stuck in the mechanism. I'll stick this down, and then I'll stick two bits of this together. So if I turn it there. Okay, I probably won't be able to cut all of that in one go. I'll give it a go though. Yeah, just like I said, probably won't be able to cut that in one go. Just find out where I've made those holes. That's one. Cut this bit out as well. Okay, stick those two bits together. That'll make it a bit firmer. But I'll use wet glue for sticking the two bits together. Just because it gives you a much firmer bond than stick glue does. And what it does, if it comes out, I literally have only left it for a couple of seconds. Well, minutes maybe. Okay, so this is probably going to squeeze out, but that's fine because I'll just wiggle it around. Let it squeeze out, and we'll just wipe all the excess off the sides. That way, then we know we've got a full bond without having too much in there. That's fine. That's good. Okay, now that is all over my fingers. Sorry about my gluey fingers. Okay, and now we're going to use a bit of this just to edge this with a bit of vintage photo. In fact, I'll put a bit more on it. that up. Okay, shake that bit off. Okay, so now we want a hole in the middle of this. Now this is a 1 inch, so if we go to the 1/2 inch mark and put that in, guide it to about the middle either side, it should then be somewhere in the middle. Oh, it's not bad. We use this, and then this is going to go through here. Flatten it out on the back. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put something over here. Now, remember, this is inside the pocket, so you're not going to see it anyway. But I'm just going to put a bit of something over it, just to stop things catching on it when you put something in the pocket. Okay, let's just get those inky edges that I didn't get before. Okay, don't have to do it on this one because you're not going to see it. Typically, glue will not behave. Wipe off any excess so it doesn't squeeze out and stick the pocket down. There we go, and if you just flip it over and then press it down that way. Okay. So this is a good opportunity just to bend this a little bit up as well, because then it makes it much easier to get a string underneath it. Okay, and the other thing I want to do is I just want to create something like a spotlight of some interest on the inside of here. Okay, so I thought maybe we could have possibly a butterfly, although I think it might blend in too much. I want something with a pop of colour, so I'm going to ask my crafty friend, Brian, can you pass me either the can you pass me the flowers? Yeah, I'll see what, or it might be a shrooms or a butterfly. Can you pass me shrooms and butterflies as well? So I might go, actually it might go for a shroom or a butterfly. I did a shroom last time, so maybe a butterfly this time. I can find one that I like. If I can get one out, that's more to the point. So let's see, I want something just in this window to, I might even go for a, let's see, oh, there's a yellow one, right, okay. I think that might be a bit big. Oh, there's a blue one, that definitely stand out, because I don't think I've used any blue. Oh, maybe a blue one. Should we put those back for the minute? Oh, there's some here as well. Oh, it's all coming apart now. Oh, I quite like that. Yes, I like that. Okay, so I'd like it to be lifted by something. A crane, maybe. Maybe a shroom. Might have to be quite a bright shroom. Might be that it needs to go something like that, maybe. Oh, I quite like that. Yeah. Can I ask you to put those back for me, Brian? Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I like those together, so that's what I'm going to do. And just to make sure that I get them stuck down like that, I'm just going to glue the two together before they move. And then I can take my time gluing these. Now I need to make sure the antennae get glued down, because remember this is a pocket, and they're likely to get caught on things. Coming down here. All of the edges, try and get as much and as close to the edge as possible, just to ensure that it doesn't catch anything when you're putting it in the pocket. And obviously if you're using something that's much more two-dimensional, so paper or something like that, but this is definitely cardboard, very three-dimensional cardboard. So I'm just going to place it and make sure it's in the right place. Yep, just like that. That's how I like it. So I'll just glue that down. Got all the sticky glue off my fingers now. Make sure that's completely down. And now that all that leaves you to do is to glue the whole thing down. So remember, we're going to turn this into a side tuck pocket, okay, and we're going to have it tucked. It's going to do it from this, so it's going to glue down these sides. I don't have to glue this bottom bit, just glue this bit down. Wipe any excess off, glue that bit down, just stick it down. And then this bit, so we want to glue down at this edge. Now I don't think that's strong enough for that side, but I don't think it's strong enough for this side, so I'm going to use some 3-in-1 and across the bottom this time as well. And you could put a thumb notch in the top of here, but I'm not going to. All the way down and across the bottom like that. And then we're going to stick that down, and that should level up nicely. That should level up. Sorry, yeah, there we go. Level up, level up. Is that what the word I need? Probably not. It's the one I've got though, so that's all we can do. Okay, so that's that. And you've got that nice little image through this window. You've got a side tuck pocket here. You've got this, which will be a tuck, which we won't put anything in it yet because it's still too wet. Okay, this now flips over. Okay, and we just, all that leaves us to do now is to put some string on here. Okay, so we'll use the string that is to hand, which is this, which is the same as I used last time. Just pull a bit out, cut it. It's getting very cluttered around here, isn't it? Put some of this back. Some of these things out of the way, otherwise you can't see what we're doing. See the wood for the trees. Some of those will, did that go there? Okay, so pulled a bit of this off. Okay, I'm just going to double it over, feed it through the hole, and then pass it through itself. Okay, and then we'll just wrap that round there, and that's it. So there we go. We've made a little pocket. This was our inspiration for doing it. One thing I might do to finish it off is I might get my corner rounder. Well, he might if you could find it. No, it's here. take my corner rounder and just clip these corners just to finish it off. I always think it looks a bit more complete this way. Okay, that's it, and that's what we've made. So, I don't know how many times you go around, you might want to choose to put your string down a bit shorter. There you go, and that's it. So what we've got is, we've got a pocket here to be able to tuck something into. So this is our pocket for tucking things into. There you go, so that's our pocket there. Yeah, and then we've got a tuck on this side here. Okay, and you could make it much more complex than that. You could have another pocket on the outside. You know, you could put a pocket on the back. You could choose to use the seam and have a tuck in there. But you know, that's for you to decide what you want to do next. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you and if you have, please don't forget to like it and share it. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Any interactivity that you give this, especially your thumbs up and your comments, really help to make sure that YouTube knows that you enjoyed it, so other people might, and that gets my message out there. I get nothing else from it. I don't get any rewards from it whatsoever. So, but please consider liking and sharing. And if you'd like to, please subscribe. I do try to upload at least one video a week. I do usually do a live on a Sunday, but this is a recorded video instead of the live because we had some technical issues. But I will, I'll be back for another crafty video very soon. And like I always say, I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. And I will see you all very soon in the next crafty video. You all take care of yourself and look after yourselves. Lots of kisses, lots of crafty hugs, and I will see you very soon. Take care, folks. Take care. Bye. Bye.